3 days had passed since the council exposed Hive Shade. The galaxy was still shaking from the news. Across different planets and stations, people were talking. Messages spread like sparks through space. Words like mind control, silent, war, and the humans uncovered it were everywhere. Commander Mika Vance stood in Earth's new office on Ophion 6, watching a digital screen. News from far systems scrolled across it. Some species were angry, some were afraid, but many were curious. Humans, they said, stood up to shadows. Micah turned when Theri walked in. Her long robes moved with quiet grace, but her eyes were sharper, now watchful. "You're leaving soon," she said. He nodded. "Tomorrow. Orders came in. They want me back on Earth, debriefing, medals, interviews, the usual nonsense." She smiled faintly. "You earned it." Micah leaned back against the wall. "You're staying?" "I must," she said. "The Solari hive is broken, not fully, but deep inside. Someone has to clean the roots." Micah watched her, then spoke carefully. "And if Hive Shade comes back?" Theri's voice didn't shake. "Then I will meet them." "Not alone, I hope," he smiled. "You won't be." The same evening, the council called a special gathering. Not for politics, but for unity. Leaders from 20 species, including humans and Solari, stood on the grand platform. Lights glowed around them. The air carried a strange feeling, calm, but charged, like a storm had passed and left clear. Skies. Council head Ralvek, a wise elder from the planet Nohu, stepped forward. "In the past," he said, "we have argued. We have feared, but fear feeds shadows, and truth burns them." He raised a crystal disk in the air. "This contains the proof brought by the humans, and the bravery of a Solari who chose truth over silence." Everyone looked at Micah and Thierry. Their names were not spoken. But they didn't need to be. They were now symbols. Later that night, after the ceremony, Rian Cho found Micah near the docks. "You sure you want to go home?" Rian asked, chewing on a piece of protein gum. "Not really," Micah said with a smirk. "But it's part of the job," Rian nodded. "Still, kinda crazy, right? We just helped stop a hidden brainwave war," Micah chuckled. "And we didn't even fire a single shot," Rian grinned. "That's the most human thing we could have done." They shook hands. Rian walked away to rejoin the tech crew. Micah stood alone for a moment, thinking. He looked up at the stars. The next day, Micah boarded the human shuttle back to Earth. As it rose through the station's launch tunnel, he watched Ophion 6 grow smaller behind him. He remembered every moment, the arguments in the council, the danger, the dark secrets, and the sudden hope. Most of all, he remembered her. Thierry. Back on Earth. Things were different. Micah was called into interviews. Security rooms, even the president's office. He explained Hiveshade's method, their sonic signals, and how humans helped expose the truth. He became known as the commander who saw through sound. It was a strange title, but he accepted it. Across media networks, Earth's image changed. No longer just newcomers in the galaxy, now they were called protectors of peace, signal breakers. Still, Micah didn't feel like a hero. Late at night, he stared at the sky from his apartment window. He missed space, he missed danger, but more than anything, he missed the fight for something bigger than himself. One morning, a message arrived, not by normal channel. It came through an encrypted line hidden beneath weather reports. Only a trained eye could spot it. It was from Theri. The message was simple. "We are rebuilding the hive, but Shade agents escaped. One vanished near the planet Karos. I will follow. Will you?" Micah didn't even think twice. He stood up, grabbed his jacket, and called command. A new mission began. Micah flew a small vessel, fast and quiet, toward the Sharos system. Along the way, he received updates. A broken signal, strange behavior in local species, a possible new version of the brain trigger tech. It was Hive Shade, not dead. Just hiding, but Micah wasn't afraid. He was ready when he landed on Karos. He stepped out into red sand and dry wind. Theri was already there, waiting near a tall black rock. She smiled when she saw him. "I thought you wouldn't come." He smiled back. "Told you, you wouldn't face them alone." They shook hands like old friends, like equals. No council halls, No cameras. Just two people with a shared mission. Together, they entered the cave system below the rock. It was dark, but this time, they were the ones holding the light, and somewhere in the shadows, Hiveshade waited. Commander Maka Vance sat in the quiet of his quarters. The lights were dim. The stars outside twinkled, calm and silent, hiding secrets behind their light. The old Solari data crystal sat on his desk. Its message kept echoing in his mind. Burnt. Honey is sweet, but fire draws shadows. Micah didn't fully understand what it meant. But one thing was clear, someone was still watching. And they were not finished. He stood up and turned on his personal comm. Rian, he said, scan for any silent data pings coming from the Solari dome. I want to know if someone's still sending coded messages. Rian's voice came back. Serious, already on it, sir, but there's something else. The station's security hub has been accessed remotely. Micah narrowed his eyes. When? Just 15 minutes ago? From a hidden terminal? Near the Garden Dome. The Garden Dome was where he had last met Theory. Micah moved quickly through the narrow glass tunnels of Ophion 6. He kept his badge ready. Passing through security gates, he reached the Garden Dome. The plants glowed softly, the air warm and calm. It was supposed to be a peaceful place, but now it felt too quiet. He found Theory standing near a glowing tree. She didn't look surprised to see him. You came fast, she said softly. You triggered an alert, he replied. She looked at him, calm but serious. I had to see if they were still listening. Micah walked closer. Who is they, Thyri? She hesitated. Then she whispered, Hiveshade. Micah had heard that name only in rumors. A secret group inside the Solari hive. Long ago, they had tried to control other species using sound, thought, and fear. They never truly died, she said. They just changed shape. Micah folded his arms. You knew they were still active. I suspected, she said. But I didn't have proof until now, Micah frowned. Why didn't you tell me? She looked down. Because I didn't know if I could trust myself. Or my own people. They returned to the human command center. Rian was waiting, looking pale. I found something bad, he said, turning his screen. 2 of the translator drones were replaced. Not last week, last year. They've been slowly sending out small signals to certain species, signals no one noticed. Until now, Micah leaned closer. What kind of signals? Emotional triggers, Rian explained. They raise aggression in Vargans, lower caution in Relari, increase fear in humans, small changes, almost invisible. Testing the field, Micah muttered, one emotion at a time. Rian nodded. They were preparing for something big. Micah stood still, jaw tight. How many leaders have been affected? We can't say. But during yesterday's vote, a few ambassadors were acting strange. Some too calm, others too angry. Thari stepped forward. That's Hiveshade's method. Control through feeling, not facts. Micah looked at both of them. If we don't act now, the entire summit may fall under their influence. Quietly, slowly, without a single weapon fired. The 3 of them formed a plan. Thyri would use her hive access to locate the original Shade agent on the station, the one who planted the drones. Meanwhile, Rian and Maka would disable the corrupted translator system and create a new secure broadcast line. They had only a few hours before the next full council session, the final vote on Earth's expansion rights. That was when Hiveshade would likely act. Thyri moved quickly through the Solari zone. She spoke to no one, her robe flowing behind her like shadow. She entered a chamber deep beneath the meditation halls. There, in a dark archive room, she opened a file sealed with the ancient mark. A spiral symbol no longer used. Inside were names. She froze when she saw the first one. Ambassador Noller, her mentor, the one who raised her in the hive, the one who taught her balance. He was part of Hiveshade. Her hands trembled. Just slightly, she took the file and ran. Meanwhile, Micah and Rian broke into the translator hub again. This time, with tools and overrides, they found the infected drones. Micah opened one. Inside was a black chip covered in Hiveshade code. It's not just about control, Rian said. It's about replacing thought. Micah removed the chip. and crushed it beneath his boot. No more whispers. Theory returned just as Mika finished sealing the new signal system. "They'll try to stop you," she said. "Ambassador Noller is sending a formal challenge against Earth's vote. He says your people can't be trusted." Mika wasn't surprised. "That's how they work. Make us look like the threat while they sit in the shadows. Then let's bring them into the light," she said. At the final council session, tension was high. Ambassador Noller stepped forward. "I demand Earth be removed from expansion talks," he said. "Their emotional chaos is dangerous to the order of the galaxy." Mika stepped up beside him, holding a silver crystal. "This contains proof of Hive Shade's interference," he said. "Your own ambassador used sonic manipulation to twist." "Other species," gasps filled the hall. Noller laughed softly. "Lies from a young race." Thyri stood up. "It's true," she said loudly. "I found the Shade records myself, and I confirm everything the humans say." Now the hall went silent. Solari were known for truth, if one of them admitted it. The council voted. The result was clear. Earth's place in the expansion was confirmed. And Hive Shade? Officially marked as a rogue faction. Later that night, Mika and Thyri stood on the observation deck again. "You stood against your own people," Mika said. "That takes strength," Thyri gave a small smile. "Truth is always stronger than fear." Mika looked at the stars. "Do you think Hive Shade is finished?" "No," she said softly. "But now they know we see them." Mika nodded. And behind them, the stars kept shining, silent witnesses to a galaxy that had just changed. The council hall had calmed down. The storm was over, at least on the surface. Commander Micah Vance had saved Earth's name by exposing the Vargan plot. The fake virus lie was broken, the hidden messages revealed. The Vargans were now on defense, but Micah knew something deeper was wrong. This wasn't just about us. He told Theory, the Solari ambassador, as they walked side by side down a narrow bridge between the domes of OPHIO-6. The stars outside blinked like watching eyes. "What do you mean?" she asked. Micah kept his voice low. "The messages on that Vargan device, they mentioned a second plan." Thyri nodded. "Yes, something called Signal Prime." I tasted the fear behind the words, even in a recording. Micah frowned. "I think this goes beyond politics. This feels like a setup. Not just for humans, but for the entire summit." They reached a quiet dome filled with floating plants and glowing stones, a peaceful Solari meditation garden. Thyri stopped and closed her eyes. "The older species are getting nervous," she said. "Humans rise too fast, too loud, too bold." Micah looked around. "That makes us dangerous to them." "And yet," she said with a hint of amusement, "you walk into danger with a smile." Micah smiled slightly. "We call that having guts." Thyri opened her eyes. "If Signal Prime is real, we must find it, before it finds us." That night, Micah met with his tech officer, Rian Cho, in a quiet maintenance room. Rian was young, smart, and always tapping on some screen. Micah handed him the last data shard recovered from Alira's lab. "Scan it deep. Look for anything tagged Signal Prime." Rian nodded and got to work. While the machine hummed, Micah leaned against the wall. His mind wandered. Why create fake virus stories? Why push fear? And who really gains if the summit falls apart? The screen pinged. "Got something," Rian said. Micah stepped forward. "It's a hidden protocol," Rian explained. "Layered inside the translation systems. It's meant to activate during the final vote." Micah's eyes narrowed. "What kind of activation?" Rian hesitated. "A voice code broadcast through the translators. A signal, short but strong." "Strong how?" "Strong enough to affect brainwaves." Micah's stomach dropped. "It's not a virus," he said slowly. "It's a trigger." Rian nodded. "A mental command. Not for humans, but for older species with sensitive hearing. The kind that reacts to sonic patterns." Micah realized the truth. This was never about humans. It was about breaking the summit from within. The next morning, Micah walked fast through the station toward the translator hub. He had one chance to stop it. The final vote was only hours away. Every species would connect to the same translation system, the same speakers. If Signal Prime activated, leaders could fall unconscious. Or worse, he entered the translator dome. It was large, round, and filled with spinning drones and crystal voice boxes. Engineers floated between them like birds in a storm. Micah flashed his clearance and walked in. The chief engineer, a soft-spoken Torellian named Vec, turned to him. "Commander Vance? What brings you here?" "I need access to the core signal." "Processor," Micah said firmly. "That's not allowed without—" Micah held up his command badge. "Now it is." Inside the chamber, Rian's scan confirmed it, a hidden sub-frequency code buried deep. It would trigger during a certain phrase in the vote announcement. Micah stared at the code. "It's Solari script," he whispered. Diary had said the Solari needed balance, but what if someone from her hive wanted chaos instead? Micah met with Theory again, this time on the observation deck. It was quiet, stars stretching out like a sea. He explained everything, the trigger code, the sonic signal, the mind-targeting broadcast. Her face was unreadable. "Solari symbols." "The twisted," she finally said. "You recognize it?" She nodded. "That's Hive shadow code." "It was banned 1,000 years ago." Micah stared at her. "Why would your people bury something like that in the council system?" She turned away for a moment, voice cold. "Because someone inside the hive still believes in the old way." Micah stayed silent. "We once used signals to control truth," she continued. "Now some want to bring it back, to control the council with sound. Make the galaxy obey." "Then we stop them," Micah said. She looked at him, gold eyes sharp. "You and we're both hunted now." He smiled. "I've been worse." Together, they returned to the translator dome. Micah gave orders to isolate the core system, blocking all outside signals. Rian helped reprogram the vote phrase, removing the hidden trigger. Then, they broadcast a warning across the council network. "This summit was nearly attacked from the inside," Micah said. "But now you know, he didn't say it was Solari code, not yet. He wanted peace, not war, but those who understood would understand. The vote went forward, peace agreements passed. Trade rights were confirmed. Earth kept its seat and gained new respect, but the hive? They stayed quiet. Too quiet. Later that evening, as Micah walked through the quiet halls, he found a message left on his door, a celery data crystal. Old, black, and cracked. Inside it was a phrase written in glowing text. "Burnt honey is sweet, but fire draws shadows." Micah closed his hand around it. Enemies were watching. Not just from outside, but within, but now he was ready. Commander Micah Vance walked quickly through the glass corridors of Ophion 6. The small black device in his hand blinked softly, proof of a hidden betrayal. He had trusted Alira Quaid once. She had been his teammate, his friend, maybe more. Now she had been caught sending messages to the Vargan Union, the very species trying to push humans out of the Galactic Council. Micah felt a sharp pain in his chest. Not from fear, but from disappointment. He entered the secure human zone and placed the device on the table. "Scan it," he ordered the embassy tech team. "Break its code. I want every message, every file, every location it's sent to." The techs nodded and got to work. Micah leaned against the wall. His mind raced. Why would Alira do this? She wasn't greedy or power-hungry. What did the Vargans promise her? A voice echoed behind him, smooth and quiet. "You look heavier." Micah turned. Thyri stood there, arms folded, watching him closely. He gave a tired smile. "That's because I'm carrying betrayal." She walked forward, her golden eyes focused on the blinking device. "Was it the one you trusted?" He nodded. "Alira." Thyri said nothing for a moment. Then, gently, "That taste must be bitter." Micah gave a dry laugh. "It's worse than that." "I warned you," she said softly. "Yes," Micah replied, "and I listened. That's why I caught her." Thyri touched the table gently, as if sensing the energy from the device. "The Vargans don't need truth. They only need fear. That's why they use someone close to you, someone who knew the right words." Micah looked at her. "How do I stop them now?" She glanced up. "You show the galaxy what humans do when someone plays dirty." Later that Day Micah entered the Grand Assembly Hall. The air was heavy with tension. Alien leaders filled their floating chairs. Holograms of each species' flag glowed behind them. Giant translator drones buzzed quietly overhead. Ready to turn any language into dozens, Micah stepped to the front. General Scrath of the Vargan Union rose from his seat. His deep voice rumbled through the hall. We demand immediate removal of humanity from the Accord. Our sources confirm they are developing a virus, one designed to wipe out older species like ours. The hall filled with gasps and murmurs. Micah stood calm, waiting for silence. Then he placed the black device on the podium. This is a Vargan signal tool, he said clearly. Given to a human scientist, tricked into spreading lies. He tapped the device. A screen appeared showing messages in Vargan script. The translator spoke aloud. Plant the data. They won't see the truth before the vote. Use emotional pressure. Tell her Earth will be abandoned. Once fear spreads, the humans will be isolated. Micah let it play. When it ended, the room was silent. Then Micah spoke again. We humans make mistakes, but we do not stab others in the dark. We do not destroy trust for power. And when one of us falls, we rise together. He looked directly at General Scrath. You used fear. We used truth. And truth just won. Scrath growled but said nothing. One of the Solari elders leaned forward. Ambassador Vance, the elder said, your species acted with courage and with honesty even when it hurt. Micah gave a small bow. That's what being human means. After the meeting, Micah walked alone back to the human quarters. He felt proud, but tired. The fight wasn't over. But today, humanity had survived. He reached his room. Thery was already waiting inside, standing near the window. I heard your speech, she said. I meant every word. I know, she said. I tasted it, even through the screen, Micah smiled. Still burnt honey? She nodded. Stronger now. Mixed with steel. He walked to her. You helped me, more than I can explain. Thery studied him. We are not so different, you and I. My species believes in logic, in balance, but sometimes a little chaos is needed. He raised an eyebrow. Are you calling me chaos? She gave a rare laugh, soft and clear. I'm saying your kind is unpredictable, but honest. That's rare in this galaxy. Micah looked out the window at the stars. Do you think they'll leave us alone now? No, she said. But now they'll think twice before underestimating humans again. There was a quiet moment between them. Then she added, Your pain about Alira, it still lingers. It does, Micah admitted. Diary stepped closer. In my culture, betrayal is like poison. But once faced, it becomes strength. Micah met her eyes. And what happens when truth tastes too strong? She smiled faintly. Then we learn to crave it. The next morning, the council confirmed it. The Vargan plan had failed. Their seat in the council was now under review. Humanity, for the first time, had been praised publicly by the older species. Micah watched the announcement alone. His datapad beeped out a message from Alira. Just one line. I was wrong and I'm sorry. Micah didn't reply. Instead he walked to the Solari garden where Thyri waited. What now? He asked. She looked up at him, calm as always. Now, she said, we find out what the rest of the galaxy is hiding. Micah nodded slowly, and we show them what truth really tastes. Like, Commander Micah Vance couldn't sleep that night. He sat on the edge of his bed in the human embassy quarters on Ophion 6, staring at the smooth black floor. Lights outside blinked through the window, ships coming and going, stars shifting. In the far distance, his mind kept repeating her words. Someone in your own team is not who they claim to be. Ambassador Thery had tasted his truth. Said it was like burnt honey, said she liked it. But now he had a new problem. Who was the traitor, and why warn him at all? His earpiece buzzed again. Micah, this is command. We need a full report. Now, Micah sighed and tapped the earpiece. I didn't start a war, if that's what you're asking. You're trending across 5 species news nets. That kiss of words she gave you, it's making waves. Micah frowned. What does kiss of words mean? Among the Solari, that phrase is sacred. It means she saw your soul and didn't flinch. Micah rubbed his temple. Great, first day, and I'm part of an alien love poem. Careful. This could be dangerous. The Solari play long games, Micah ended the call. He needed real answers, not warnings. The next day, the summit resumed. Aliens filled the giant glass halls. Holographic signs floated mid-air. Delegates moved in groups, whispering and watching. Micah walked alone. He passed the Vargan Union table. The Vargans were tall, with thick-plated skin and glowing blue veins. Their leader, General Scrath, gave Micah a slow nod, too slow to be friendly. Micah didn't nod back. He noticed Alira Quaid, the human xenolinguist, across the room. She was tall, serious, and had once been more than a colleague. She hadn't spoken to him since they arrived. She looked away when he tried to meet her eyes. Strange. He thought that's when he felt the air shift, without sound or light. Theory appeared beside him again, as if she had always been there. Walk with me, she said softly. They moved through a side hallway. It was quiet, lined with silver plants and soft glowing walls. I've done some tasting, she said. Micah raised an eyebrow. Tasting? She nodded. Not food, feelings, chemicals, voice frequencies. Solari senses are layered. When others lie, we taste sour metal. When they hide fear, it's sharp salt, Micah smiled. And truth is still burnt honey? She gave him a sideways glance. Only yours, he chuckled, flattering. She stopped walking. I'm not here to flirt. Commander, I'm here to warn you again. Micah became serious. Tell me. One of your humans has been passing messages, quietly, through voice patterns and coded speech. Vargan ears can catch it. Yours can't. Micah's jaw tightened. You're sure? I'm Solari. I don't guess. He nodded. Any idea? Who it is? She looked him directly in the eye. The one you used to trust. Micah's mind jumped to Alira. She was one of the smartest linguists on Earth. She could hide a message in a hello. But why would she betray them? Thari began to walk again. The Vargans plan to accuse your species of bioweapon research. They'll say Earth is hiding a new virus, one that only affects older species. That's a lie. Of course. But fear spreads faster than proof. Micah took a deep breath. So what do I do? Thari turned and faced him fully. You need to catch the traitor, find the fake evidence, and stop the vote. All within the next 48 hours. He blinked. You. Make it sound easy. Nothing about humans is easy. That's why I like watching you. He looked at her. Why help me at all? Your people don't need us. She tilted her head. Solari feed on truth and balance. Chaos poisons us. If this summit falls into fear and lies, the hive suffers, but also... She stepped closer. I'm curious. Your species is fast, emotional, loud, but honest in strange ways. You feel things deeply and still walk into danger. Micah smiled slightly. We call that being human. It's new to me, she whispered. That evening, Micah returned to the human consulate room. He poured himself water and stared at the glowing reports on his datapad, a map of signal traces. Patterns of speech. List of meetings. Alira had met with a Vargan trade officer 5 times in the past week. Why? He couldn't accuse her without proof. Suddenly his pad beeped. Unknown signal detected. Location. Hall 9, Language Lab. Micah stood. The language lab was where Alira often worked. He grabbed a data tool and left at once. The hallway was quiet. Micah walked past glowing signs until he reached the lab. The door was open a crack. He peeked inside. Alira stood alone, speaking softly into a small device. Her words too low to hear. Micah activated his translator tool. It caught the tail end. Inserted into the final proposal. They won't. No, until it's too late. Micah stepped in. Alira? She jumped, dropping the device. Her eyes went wide. Micah. I heard. He said calmly. She looked down, guilty, afraid. I didn't mean to betray Earth, she said quickly. They said we'd never be accepted. That the Vargans could protect us. I thought. He held up a hand. Save it. She lowered her head. Micah picked up the device. It pulsed red. Quantum code, he muttered. Hard to trace. But not hard enough. He turned to leave. Before he did, Alira whispered, I'm sorry. Micah paused. I believe you. But you still have to answer for it. He walked away. Holding the device tightly, the fake evidence could be stopped now. But the Vargans wouldn't give up so easily, and somewhere in the shadows, the real fight was just beginning. Commander Maka Vance stood tall, even though he felt small inside. Around him, aliens of every kind filled the Grand Hall of Ophion 6, a massive space station built around a dying star. This place wasn't meant for humans. It was meant for the old species, the powerful ones, who had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. Micah adjusted the silver pin on his black diplomatic uniform. It had the Earth emblem, a blue circle, a line through the middle. He took a deep breath. His heart was calm, but his mind was racing. I've survived wars, he told himself. I can survive a party, but this was no normal party. It was the Galactic Accord Summit, a yearly gathering where leaders from across the stars made big decisions. Humanity was still new here. Only 60 years had passed since they had been discovered. Most of the older species still looked at them like insects. With loud mouths, he heard someone laugh behind him. A group of tall, crystal-skinned beings turned to stare. The tallest one tilted his head. Primitive mammal, one of them whispered, thinking Micah wouldn't hear. He smiled and turned away. Micah walked toward the bar. The station's lighting was soft gold and violet. Soft music played, strange and calming. Creatures danced in circles, floated mid-air, or sat in pods that changed shape as they relaxed. That's when he saw her, standing near a glowing fountain. An alien woman watched the crowd. Her skin was like flowing light, shifting. Colors like oil on water. Her eyes were gold, glowing like twin suns. Her mouth was sharp but beautiful, like it was shaped by wind and time. She was Ambassador Thari, from the Solari Hive, a species known for their deep politics, strong minds, and deadly tongues. Micah had read the files. The Solari were respected, feared, and nearly impossible to read. Some said their voices could break minds. Others said their emotions could kill. He walked over anyway. Beautiful lips, he said with a small smile. There was silence, total silence. A nearby diplomat dropped his glass. A blue-skinned singer stopped mid-note. Even the music paused. As if the room itself held its breath, Thyre turned, slowly. Her golden eyes locked onto his. Micah's throat went dry. He realized too late, maybe what he said had another meaning in her culture, a dangerous one. Then she smiled. Just, a little wanna taste? She replied. The silence grew deeper. A few creatures backed away. Micah blinked. That reply, it could mean many things. In some species, taste meant duel, in others marriage. In the Solari Hive, he had no idea, but before he could speak, she stepped closer. Her voice dropped, smooth like silk, and only he could hear. Don't worry, human, she whispered. I'm only tasting for truth. And then she vanished, in a shimmer of light like she was never there. An hour later, Micah sat in a private room, rubbing his forehead. His earpiece buzzed. It was his handler from Earth Command. What the hell did you say to the Solari ambassador? The voice snapped. Micah sighed. I complimented her lips. A long pause. Vance, the voice said. In Solari culture, lip compliments can be a declaration of intellectual challenge. Great, Micah muttered. You may have just started a duel, or a courtship, or a treaty, or an execution. I thought honesty was a virtue, not with the Solari. With them, truth is currency, and it's dangerous. Micah leaned back, eyes on the ceiling. This was bad. Very bad. He didn't mean to start anything. He just wanted to connect, to show that humans could be more than just noisy newcomers. But now, he had her attention, and maybe the attention of her entire species. His door buzzed. Who is it? He asked. No answer. He opened it cautiously. Standing there was Thyre. May I come in? She asked. Micah stepped aside. She walked in like she belonged there. Her clothes shimmered like water. Her voice carried calm power. I caused a scene, she said simply. Micah gave a dry laugh. You and me both. You spoke truth, she said. And that's rare. He tilted his head. You can tell? She nodded. We Solari taste Truth, lies have flavor. Truth has fire. She stepped closer. Yours was burnt honey, bitter, bold, but clean, Micah blinked. You can really taste truth? She nodded again. And I haven't tasted something like yours in centuries. Silence hung between them. Then she said, There are those here who fear humans. Fear your speed, your hunger, your short lives and long dreams. I've noticed, Micah said. Be careful, Commander Vance. Someone in your own team is not who they claim to be. He narrowed his eyes. You're saying someone's betraying us, she nodded. And they already made their first move. Micah took a deep breath. This was more than just politics. This was war, quiet, cold, and full of masks. Why help me? He asked. Thyri gave a soft smile. Because burnt honey, she said, is my favorite taste. And then, like before she vanished into light,